Hi everyone. So, looking at the results from the test, there are a couple things that we're gonna kind of go over really quickly. We have Miss Mena and Mr. Gill behind the camera right now, and they're making me laugh, so I apologize. I'm a YouTuber now. Okay, so we're gonna go over the distance formula because a lot of you had confusion about that, despite the fact that we went over it on Friday, despite the fact that I put videos on it. I'm making a video now. Hopefully you'll watch this, and hopefully it'll make sense after that. Then we're gonna go over degrees, minutes, seconds, converted into degrees. We'll work on that. That's not that big of a concept, but it's easy points, and I want you guys to be able to understand that. And then coterminal angles, we'll go over that as well. So, starting with the degree, or with the distance formula. You'll both really have to watch me. All right, so let's say we're looking at the point 2, 3, and 5, 7. All right, we know x, our x coordinate is gonna be 2, our y coordinate is gonna be 3, right? And for this one, our x coordinate is 7, our x coordinate is 5, our y coordinate is 7. Now, since we're looking at 2 points, just so that we can label them a little easier, right, we'll call this one x1, we'll call this one y1, we'll call this one x2, we'll call this one y2. So now we can differentiate, okay? So I'm gonna start off just using the formula and just plugging into the formula so you guys can see it that way, and then I'll draw out a graph and we'll see how it works on the graph, so hopefully conceptually makes a little bit more sense visually, okay? So the formula is the square root, it's a big square root of our x2 minus our x1. These orders don't matter that much, okay? But beyond the point, we'll do x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And we take the square root of all of that to get our distance. Okay. So, x2, we know right here, that's 5. x1, we know right here, that's 2. So 5 minus 2 squared plus our y2, 7, minus our y1, 3 squared. And then we take the square root. And then from here on out, it's just algebra, so hopefully you know this. 5 minus 2 is 3 squared plus 7 minus 3 is 4 squared. We take the square root. We know that this right here is 9 plus right here is 16. We take the square root. This is the square root of 25, which we know is 5. And that's our distance between these 2 points. It's 5 units. Cool? I'm hoping that's making sense. All this really is just the Pythagorean theorem. This is our a squared, this is our b squared, and down right here, this is c squared, and then we square root it to get c. Now, if it doesn't make sense visually to you that this is the Pythagorean theorem, let me draw out a graph, and then I'll show you from there. Pause. Okay, so this is it on a graph now, all right? All we're gonna do is just find this distance right here, okay? Now, hopefully we know how a graph works, but if we don't, I'm gonna draw out the lines, and then we'll see something here, okay? So we have 2 right here. We go up to 3. So this one 4. This is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7. Look what we formed right now. Our right triangle. With our hypotenuse being our distance. Right, this is our C. So if we want to find A and B so that we can find out C, all we do, subtract our 5, our x value, by our 2, right? And we get this right here is 1, 2, 3, right? This is 3 units right here. And then we subtract our y values, right? So between here is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this right here is 4. And now, get rid of all of this ugly chaotic mess going on. And we just have a right triangle with sides 3 and 4, and we're trying to figure out our hypotenuse. So that's all that's really going on when we're doing the distance formula, right? Because now all we have to do is just 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. And we get that it's 5. So hopefully the distance formula makes a little bit more sense. Now I know that some of you were worried about like the square roots and stuff like that. That's algebra. We can do an example with square roots. So how about we pause and I'll bring up one of those. Okay, so let's say we're given these 2 points, 4, 7, and then 2, 9. All right, so just like we did before, we're gonna do our x2 minus our x1, so 2 minus 4 squared plus y2 minus y1, 9 minus 7 squared. Here we get negative 2 squared plus positive 2 squared. We take the square root. Now negative 2 squared we know is just 4, right? Because negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. And then 2 squared is 4. And this equals the root of 8. Right? So this isn't a perfect square. So how are we going to reduce it? Yeah, Lindsay shook her head. She said, no, it's not a perfect square.
You said my name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Menna. We're not cutting that out. There's no time for that. And we have like 5. Okay, we're just going to reduce this down. And we're going to try to find a perfect square within this. So we know that 8 can be divided by 4 and 2. So this becomes the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. What's the square root of 4? It's just 2. 2 times root 2.
Wow.
And then that's your distance between those 2 points. I did it right on the wall. You didn't see that. Okay, so there's the distance between 2 points. Now, next is going to be degrees, minutes, and seconds.